All right, Mr. Mikey Garcia, thank you very much for returning once again to theboxingbar.com, and welcome, man.
Thanks. Anytime. It's always a pleasure.
Congratulations. The last time we talked, you get your dream shot, get that done, and you become the world champion. How did you feel going into that ring that day? How did you feel physically? How did you feel emotionally?
Well, it was more excitement than anything. I was very happy, very glad that, I was getting my shot, that I was actually going to be fighting for a world title finally. So I was excited. I was very confident in my abilities and just very happy for the opportunity. Everybody expects, and then I was hoping, for big things for me, and I was going to get my opportunity to show everybody what kind of fighter I really am. And luckily, everything went well, and I showed everything that I have.
And the last time we talked, it was a few weeks right after you thought you were going to be fighting for the world title against Celestino Caballero, which was originally supposed to be on July 28th in Indio, and that didn't go that way for whatever reasons, and it ended up you getting even a bigger shot and fighting even a bigger guy with Orlando Salido. How did that feel like at that point or you thought you lost that chance to fight for the world title? How did you feel when you heard that you were going to fight Celestino Caballero after all?
At first I was a little disappointed, but if we didn't get that title shot, there's always more opportunities out there. So, I knew my manager would, try to find something good for me, and, he was able to find the Salido fight, and we were supposed to fight in November. That, again, got postponed for injury, so another minor setback, but I always have faith in my promoter and my manager, and they always look out after me. So I knew it was just a matter of time. I mean, we worked so hard to get to where we were, and it was just a matter of time before my opportunity came. And I was just very happy with the way things turned out. I'm very excited, that the fight finally came, and we were able to take care of business and show everybody the kind of fighter that I am.
You got thrown that fight with Jonathan Barros in between there in November. Did you see anything in that fight where it was a little different than all the other fights you had in between? It seemed like he pretty much was a strong opponent and seemed to be someone that was getting to you towards the end of that fight.
Well, he definitely was a better opponent than some of my previous opponents were, but it's expected. You're moving up the ladder. You're fighting better guys every time. He's a pretty good fighter, and he's given really good fights to the champions, and he only lost 2 champions, so he still has plenty to give to anybody. I just had to take care of business. I fought extra careful, extra patient that night. We don't want to risk much in the fight, so I also had to fight at a slower pace than I probably could have, but I just had to make sure that I won, and that was the game plan for that fight, and luckily we were able to connect and hurt him in the last round there, but we put him down, and that was it. Good thing we stopped him, but I never planned on anything like that yet. I was just making sure that I won safely all night long.
A lot of me and my online friends from Facebook, we were posting stuff as every round was going by in that fight. A lot of us were thinking that you won easily throughout the rounds, but in the last round or two, it seemed like he was starting to get to you. And once he started getting to you, a lot of us were saying, man, imagine what Salido would do if he got to you. Did you see any of that or feel any of that he maybe was getting to you, to the last few rounds in that fight with Barros?
No, we felt that we were still in control. My brother would just, remind me and tell me not to let him grow, not to let him get, his confidence back up, and kind of, step it up just a little bit more, just to give him, the idea that I'm still, taking control of the fight. And that's when I landed, the good punch. And we're looking, we're not looking past him, but we always knew that Salido was right in front of us. So I also wasn't going to risk too much, in the Barros fight, to impress anybody and risk, the chance of me fighting Salido for a title. So that's why I also had to be, like I said, extra careful and extra safe.
And going into that night, did you feel all the butterflies saying, you know what, I'm not only going to fight one of the main champions, but I'm going to fight the main guy, the guy that beat Juan Manuel Lopez in Puerto Rico twice, and he was 30-0 just like you were. And did you have any doubt in your mind that, walking into that arena that day, that, he had a pretty good chance to, have that advantage over you because he was a more experienced fighter?
Not at all. We had a game plan, and when we have 10, 12 weeks of hard work, and you have the game plan to win the way we had it, I didn't see any other outcome. I wouldn't see any other way for the fight to turn out. If all I had to do was make sure that I stick to my game plan, and I would win. That's just the way I saw it. There was no other way for him to beat me except lucky punch or something like that. Other than the lucky punch, there was no way he was going to beat me if I executed my game plan, which is what I did. I followed my game plan. I knew exactly what to do. I was prepared for it, and I just kept doing what I needed to do all night long, and that's how I was able to make it look easy. I had the perfect game plan to win that night, and I did it.
That first round, I said to myself, you know what? If Mikey lets guard down, it's going to be, Salido's going to find it, just like he did against Juanma. But first round, bam, he falls on the floor the first time. What was the first thoughts coming through your head when you saw him on the floor for the first time?
That I'm going to win. That I'm going to beat him. Even if I don't knock him out, if I could hit him that easy and make him miss that easy and hurt him that easy, it's going to be my night. Whether I knock him out or not, if I can hit him and he's having a hard time adjusting to myself and trying to hit me, there's no other way for the night to be than to be my way. So, when I dropped him in the first round and I just started, to feel that this was going to be my night, I was very confident.
That crowd is very different. I mean, you were in New York. You didn't have the full Mexican crowd that you had over there or the full Mexican-American crowd. So you guys were pretty much on neutral grounds. How did it feel, or how neutral or not neutral was it? What was the crowd like there, especially, after the first knockdown? What was the atmosphere like?
Most of the fans that were there were, big boxing fans, and like you said, maybe neutral to both of us. Not a heavy Mexican, Mexican-American crowd, but they're true boxing fans, so they enjoy boxing, and it was a good crowd. It was a good fight, good arena to take place. I did have a lot of family and friends, over. So I would hear them, I could hear them. Like I seen some of them, in the stands. But it was just like anything else. I mean, to me, I'm just in the ring. I mean, it's not where the fight takes place or who's in attendance. It's just who's in front of me, and that's how I take care of everything. And that's all that really matters to me, and that's why I was able to stay focused and just stick to the game plan all night long.
Throughout the first, 6, 7 rounds, I mean, it even looked like a mismatch. You had dropped them several times. You were taking over easily. Didn't even look like a real match. It even looked like an amateur against a professional. You being the professional. When it got towards the last rounds, and when he got the headbutt or he hit you with the head there, it seemed like everything turned, and a lot of people started saying, you know what, this is where Orlando Salido started really coming on. And Mikey Garcia and his corner ended up stopping the fight and ending the fight in that way. For a lot of people that might think that, even though you were dominating the whole fight, you had knocked him down all those times, it looked like a mismatch, but yet there's people that might be pointing fingers and saying, hey, you know what, he didn't win the way it should have been won. The world title should have been won when Orlando Salido was starting to put pressure on. I mean, what do you say to people thinking like that? To all the naysayers, what do you say to that?
They have their opinion. They can say, what they feel. If you see the fight, even the last round or the round before, I was still landing the most effective punches. He might have picked up his activity level from the first 4 or 5 rounds. He might have started throwing more punches, but he was still not connecting many of those shots, and I was still hurting him. He was never hurting me, and just because they think that he was starting to come up, they didn't get a chance to see me either. I was going to put some more pressure and stop him out. I had already felt that I could stop him in a round or two. They just didn't see that. They don't see that. They want to give him an opportunity or to say that maybe those were his better rounds and, they got taken away. Well, he shouldn't have came in with the headbutt either. I told him, if he wants a rematch, I want to give him a rematch. That's not a problem. This time I'll beat him probably faster. I've already felt everything that he has, and he ain't got anything to beat me. In
his interviews after that, he said you did win rightfully, and he also wanted to go up in weight. And in other words, him saying that, he doesn't want anymore. It doesn't matter that you won, because he really thought that you won in a rightful way. I mean, what do you do from here? I mean, you don't have a guy like Salido. I mean, you beat the main guy. You didn't just beat a guy at your weight. You beat the guy. at your weight. I mean, what happens
right
from
now,
here at this point? I had Robert on about a week and a half ago, and I asked him about all his other fighters, but I knew I was going to have you on, and I said, you know what? Let me ask Mikey directly. What's going to happen to you? What's your next move?
well, we don't have anything lined up yet, but there are some names that have been thrown out there, that want to, have an opportunity to fight me, and I'm willing to fight anybody. I mean, that's just up to manager and promoter to figure out who they're going to put in front of me. I'll just, do my job in the ring and do my job in the gym to get ready and just fight, whoever they put in front of me. I'm not running away from anybody now. I'm the man that everybody wants to fight, so I'm open to fighting anybody, any up-and-comer, anybody who deserves to have a shot, I'll give them an opportunity. Just like I was asking for it, they'll get it also.
A very interesting thing that I thought and I brought up, but when I talked to Robert, I asked him, what's Nonito Donaire going to do? And the whole thing with Abner Mares and him, it didn't happen. And he said, you know what, Nonito Donaire might come up in weight. If he comes up in weight, wouldn't that be against you? And do you think that would be a possibility, or do you think that would be an impossibility because both of you guys, work under Robert?
I don't think it would happen, not as long as my brother's there with him. If he does come up in weight, there's other titles that he can, fight for, and we can both clear the division without facing each other. And, we're friends. He's with my brothers. There's no need for us to fight each other. At least not anything, right now. I mean, he's with my brother, so that wouldn't happen. I've said it before, it's not that either one of us is afraid to fight each other or fighting any other champions, but sometimes just the fights don't happen because it doesn't make sense for it to happen, and this is one of those cases.
The first time I spoke to you, actually, I said, what would your plans be? Should you win the title or should you become a world champion? What would your intentions be? And you said to unify the titles at your weight. Is that still one of your plans? Is that still what you want to do?
I would definitely want to do that, but being in boxing and being how politics and business are also so involved in boxing, it's hard to do that based on the promoters that hold the champions. They might not be in their best interest to unify titles as well. So it's very hard to do. Probably not going to happen. So there's always other things that we can look at and, maybe only hold one or two of the titles, maybe, defend a few times, maybe move up in weight. There's different things that one can do, but that was definitely my first thing that I, wanted to do, become an undisputed champion in my weight class. It's probably not going to happen, but, we can always do other things.
And I think that someday along the line, everybody's going to understand that Mikey Garcia is going to be the main man. You got stuff going on the site with the video coming out of you with the whole future of the Garcias and the past of the Garcias and all that, and you're co-producing it. Tell us a little bit about that. I've been posting about that in the past, and I want you to bring a little light into that, and I hope to bring that up because all this happened prior to you becoming a world champion here in Oxnard. Tell us a little bit about that project, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure. It's a production that we're trying to put together, a documentary on the family. My family, starting with my dad, my older brother Danny, my brother Robert, myself. It's just not just boxing, but also the upbringing. Where my dad comes from, where we come from as a family, kind of struggles and life experiences that my dad went through and has lived with my rest of my family to finally be where we are now and to have all the blessings that we have. We're doing this, it started kind of small with a big idea. As, we've been working on this for, I think, over a year now. Started rolling and getting bigger, and, we added more footage, we added more material with Chewy. So, he's really working on it. I'm just kind of helping him out. He's the real guy who knows video production and everything. I'm just kind of looking over and making sure that, everything is,
overlooking the project.
Overlooking the project, yeah, just overlooking the project. I'm putting together the material, the, newspaper articles, the old home videos and old fights, and, just putting stuff together like that. We hope to bring it out and start showing it, in film festivals and, showing it out like that. We're very close to finishing the entire project, so we just have to kind of edit a few of the things and put everything in order, but hopefully everything's done pretty soon, and just hope to show it and people like it, just to give them another insider, look on the family and, who we are as a family and where we come from. It's going to be titled Building Champions, Los Garcia. So just to let the people know, we're trying to put something so people have a closer look at our family. I don't have the date that we want to put out release yet, but I talked to Chewy. 805 Filmworks. So we're still, like I said, we're still and we get together. He calls me up frequently. He comes over and we discuss the things. So we still gotta finish it. We're not gonna give out data yet, without it being completely finished. But it's very, very close to coming out, and I'm pretty excited for it. It's something, as kind of a gift to the people and to ourselves. To the boxing community, to just the Oxnard community, surrounding areas, who have heard of my dad, who have heard of my brother, myself, and may not know so much about the family. They'll get a chance to know who we are, where we come from, and we've been blessed, in the sport of boxing.
Let me ask you something, man, and I brought it up too. I've had your nephew, Belos. We brought up, like, the different stories. I remember the first time I had you on, you brought up the story of, your first amateur fight. You didn't even know you were going to have your amateur fight, and somebody just threw some gloves at you and said, hey, you're going to get in the ring and fight. Then you brought up your first pro fight, and, somebody broke into your dad's SUV and, stole that. Did all that stuff run to your mind? Because I know it ran through my mind the day of your world title fight, and it ran through my mind. I said, man, this is a guy that's been through a lot. Did it run through your mind when you're walking into the ring? Or I know I've heard, football players say when they've won their Super Bowl games or whatever, they say, you know what, I remember my parents taking me to, my little games when I was in high school and stuff like that. And, I would figure a boxer would, look back and reflect on, those times of all the bad times and all the good times that they went through when they won a world title themselves. Did that stuff run to your mind when you were doing that?
It really didn't. It didn't. It really didn't. If I'm walking in the ring or in the back, in the locker room, in the dressing room getting ready, none of that really came to my mind. I was just, focused on my fight, and that's it. This whole, the whole atmosphere and everything was very comfortable for me. It's like just another day, in the office for us. It's, we're very comfortable. My dad's very, very comfortable. My brother's comfortable. It's just, we're just so used to this. It's no biggie. So even though it was our first world title fight, none of this other past experiences came to my mind or affected me in any way. It just, to me, it was just another fight. And
you don't wake up. You don't wake up in the morning and say to yourself, man, what's that thing right there next to me, that title, you don't have those feelings?
Not yet, because I don't have them here. They haven't shipped them to me. I wake up, and then some, my wife will be like, friends or whatever, texting me or whatever, hey, champ, how you doing, or whatever. Hey, what's up, man? Hey, how does it feel? I don't feel anything special. It's the same. I don't feel anything different. Oh, that's so cool, whatever. Well, I don't. I really don't. I mean, I don't have the, like yesterday watching the Super Bowl game, at the end, and they're happy, and the dream come true for the players, and then my wife says, "You don't feel that? You still don't feel that for you?" I'm like, "Not really. I mean, I don't know how else to explain it, but I don't feel anything special. I know it is, and I know other people see it as something extremely special and a great accomplishment, and I see that. It's not that I don't appreciate it. It's not that I don't love what I do or that I don't appreciate it.
Man, you need to see a doctor, brother. You need to see a doctor.
No, it's just. I mean, I don't feel anything special. I don't feel different than anybody else. I don't feel like I'm above anybody
But you know what? I think mentally, you knew this was going to happen one day. Even when you were a kid, it was going to happen one day. So I think that's how confident you've been in yourself, and that's how confident you'll be in yourself in time.
Yeah, very likely. I've been around it so long that to me it's nothing different. I mean, if I was, a first-time generation, first fighter with a dream to become world champion, and nobody in my family has ever been around boxing, I've never been big to big events, big arenas, and it was the first time, then maybe I'd be shocked, maybe I'd be, very emotional at the moment and everything. But since I've been around it, I've seen many things and, been around so many champions and with my dad and my brothers, and it's kind of, just another day for me, So that's why I don't feel anything special from it. I don't feel like I'm better than anybody else or that I deserve more attention.
And it was really weird. Like I'm saying, like I seen your brother win the title, and he was like, "All right, cool, I won the title." And then I saw Fernando Vargas win the title, and he started breaking down in tears. And you, it was like, yeah, well, it was going to come to me someday, you know. You had that reaction, like, well, yeah, it was due to me, you know. And so that was different with you, where you know that mentality or that emotional state was a lot different than anybody else.
Yeah, and like I said, it's probably, and it helps me, you know, that I've been around it so, you know, all my life, so long. So that helps me be stronger, you know, mentally, and it's just normal to me.
If I were to ask your dad, he's the godfather, I always call him the godfather of boxing here in Oxnard. If I were to ask him, is he happy with where you have gone in this sport, in your opinion, do you think he would have something positive to say? Do you think he would say that he's happy how far you've got in this sport?
I think he's very, very happy, not just with what we've done, but with what he's done and what he's accomplished with my brother Robert, myself, and you know, it's a record. You know, it's history.
And I agree. I brought that up 100 times. I think I've written about it 100 times, and I've had a lot of people that didn't like what I said about it. But you know, I agree. He is the godfather of boxing.
I mean, he's done so much. He might not have been the first one to be a boxing trainer in Oxnard or anything, but he really brought Oxnard boxing victories to Oxnard, you know, bigger than anybody else. You know, and not just Oxnard, but you know, it's just everywhere. You know, he's had you know, fights all around the world, and I mean, to create, you know, the champions that he's done from day one. You know, to start Fernando Vargas from day one, to start Robert, you know, my brother, from day one. You know, make them world champions, myself, you know, from day one. And
like I told Robert the other day, I go, you know what? He planted the seed that's blossomed into this, has expanded into, you know, all these branches of world champions, like all you guys.
Yeah, and I'm sure he's very proud of you know, what he's done, and he's very proud of what I've done. He's very excited for me. He tells me, you know, now you're a world champion. You know, you've earned this. You know, so take care of yourself. You know. You're a world champion. You got to see yourself like a world champion. Take care of yourself. You're gonna do, you know, much more than what you have. So make sure that you're smart. And you know, I know he's very happy for me. And you know, we hope we do more. We hope we do bigger things, and we hope we keep growing, you know, in the sport. And like I say, you know, make the history books.
What do you want your people here from Oxnard to understand or to know about you, Mikey Garcia? Even though that you're living in Moreno Valley and all that stuff, but you're still from Oxnard regardless of whatever. And how do you want people to understand what the Garcia family has done for Oxnard and for boxing in general?
I'm the same guy. You know, we may be you know, very popular and you know, very strong in boxing, but we're the same people that we were, you know, 20 years ago when my brother was just boxing and my dad was still 30 years ago on the strawberry fields. I mean, we, as a family, we don't change. You know, we same people. You can always, you know, approach us, and no bad things will come from us. You know, you won't have to be afraid, you know, to speak to us or talk to us or approach us. My brother's gym is open, you know, to the public every day. He's there. You know, he doesn't have any policies that you have to call in advance or anything like that. It's open. You know, that's just the kind of person that he is, and I'm the same way. You know, we're not special. We're not anybody special, or we don't feel different or better than anybody else. We're just like everybody else. We just, you know, have been successful in boxing because that's what we know how to do. But, you know, it's just like other, you know, people, construction workers or painters or whatever. They may be great at their art. They may be great at their work. We're just the same thing, just in different sport, different line of work. But, you know, we're just like anybody else. You know, you work hard. You know, you dedicate yourself. You know, good things can come. And
you guys know what it's like to come from the bottom to come up to the top.
So I've heard, you know, the stories and you know, my dad and my mom and everything. So we understand all that. We know what it's like to have downfalls, to have, you know, struggles, to reach goals in life with hard work. So
let me put you on the spot before I let you go, Mikey. I talked to Robert, you know, about a week and a half ago. Like I said, I asked him one question. I go, you know what? Now that your brother Danny isn't working with Victor anymore, for whatever reasons, is there any chance that he could start talking to him again? And he pretty much answered, I'm open to it, but you know what? They weren't open to go to Mikey's fight, and that said a lot. And that's our kid brother, and he wasn't open to go to that. Do you feel bad about all that stuff that happened, or do you kind of understand and not blame Danny for not going and doing that? And, you know, he didn't go to your fight in New York like the rest of the family did. Do you blame Danny at all for that, or are you still hoping that your two brothers do, you know, get back together and get along somehow?
I don't know really how. I mean, I got not much to say. I mean, he didn't go to the fight, but I don't know. He might have had other reasons, or other circumstances that held him from going. I haven't not talked to him either, so I wouldn't know. We thought he might. I was thinking he might have actually show up there, or make the team might have made the trip, but he didn't make it. I think hopefully things work out better and starts to get talking to Robert and whatever, better relationship. But I don't know much. I got nothing against Danny either. I mean, he doesn't have anything against me either, so it's not like he didn't want to go because it was me or anything. I don't know. I haven't talked to him about it either.
You know what? As much as I wanted to tell Robert that day, I don't know what I'd feel like if I knew I ended up going and training with somebody knowing that I was going to probably lose my family, and then on top of that, after a while, I lost my job because the guy let me go or whatever. And then, how am I supposed to go back to my family after that? You might have that something where you might say, that pride where you say, you know what, or I don't want to be the one that says I screwed up and see what happened all because of me. You know what I mean? Like, I understand that point too. So it goes both ways. I think.
I'm sure it has to be hard for Danny if he sees that that way, like you're talking right now. It has to be hard for him also, and for the rest of his family as well. That's just shit happens. It's life, and we can't change people or live other people's lives. Everybody has to think for themselves, and that's life, man. Shit happens.
For anybody that might be questioning, I mean, is there any bad blood between you and Salido?
No, there's nothing. There never was anything like that. I respected him as the champion that he was, and then for giving me the opportunity. And he also never disrespected me or anything like that. Neither did his people.
This is how bad rumors are. I remember the morning after the fight, a lot of people were saying that Salido was saying all this bad stuff about you, that he hated you. The very next day, on a Monday, I read on a Spanish newspaper that he was saying that you deserved the belt, that he had nothing but respect for you, and that he was going to go up in weight because he didn't think he could do that weight anymore. So, I mean, that's how stupid rumors are, and I'm sure you know about that, living through this all your life.
He never disrespected me, leading up to the fight, or vice versa. I never disrespected him or any of his people. So we got nothing bad to say about him, and I'm sure he doesn't have anything bad to say about me either. It's just the rumors. People talk, and people want to start, beef and drama just to create something. But like I say, other times, fighters, you really don't even know the fighter that much. You get to meet them, press conference, weigh-in, the night of the fight. That's about it. You meet the guy a few times, and you don't hang out with them. You don't get to really know how they are. They may say things, to pump up the fight or sell the fight or promote the event or whatever. But most of it is all, just for talk, not serious beef or anything like that. I mean, we never had anything like that, though. It was always cool people.
And absolutely an amen to that, man. Just to let you know, Mikey, that of all the guests I've had on here, you've been the guy that's been on here the most, and any other guests that I have on theboxingbar.com, man. So I want to thank you very, very much for coming on here and being our main guest here. I have nothing but the utmost respect, and it's kind of hard to understand that at one point you were a contender trying to come up to fight for the title. Now you're the, in my mind, the undisputed champion at that weight. And it's pretty amazing, man, how I could go from talking to a guy, just a guy at one point trying to be a contender, to being the man at that weight. And it's unbelievable, and I'm glad you're from my hometown, and I'm glad that it's you, one of the Garcias, one of the guys that I've rooted for forever, and I'm proud of it very much, and I've been rooting for you the whole time. On my Facebook page, they all know that I've always been a Garcia fan. They all know that I've been one of your fans, and they all know that I will always root for you and from here on, man. And thank you very much for being a part of that at all times.
Thanks. I just appreciate it. I know, I've been real busy the past, couple times you asked and whatever, but
man, and thank you for being here, and I hope to have you on before your next fight, and I hope to have you on at any fight before or after that, man.
Sure thing, man.
Thank you very much, Mikey, man, and good luck with everything, and I hope you let me know about that video coming out, because I want to be I want to be there at the premiere for that.
All right. We'll let you know. We'll post it up. I'm sure Chewy will post things up, and myself will be posting things up when we finally get, dates and everything for it. So we'll make sure you find out.
We'll do that. Thank you very much, Mikey, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, man.